There are four main types of headaches: sinus headaches, tension headaches, migraines, and cluster headaches. And then there are also sex and orgasm headaches. Now, there's lots of other kind of headaches too, like hangover headaches, or if you've had a head knock kind of headache, but they're the ones that I want to talk about today. Now, a disclaimer first off, there is far more to what I'm going to talk about today in headaches, but imagine these are the core basics that I really wanted to touch on and maybe give you a couple of ideas that you haven't thought about yet, and mostly in thinking about prevention. So let's start. We're going to go straight in with the biggie, which is migraines. Now, migraines, they've got symptoms like they'll show up, whether some people will get, a throbbing in one area, they get the sensitivity to light, or they'll get the flickering light, sound, nausea, distorted vision, face and neck throbbing, whatever it is. And they can hang on from a few hours to a couple of days. What's said to be the triggers are things like stress and anxiety, sleep disruption, so not getting a full sleep, hormonal changes, skipping meals, dehydration, some foods and medications, and bright lights and loud noises. And generally, for most people, it's like the resting in a dark, quiet place helps. Ice packs, cold packs on the forehead, drinking water. Something I wanted to throw out there that you mightn't have thought about, and a classic for us as naturopaths, is when people are oversensitive to heat, to light, and to noise, magnesium's playing a part. Now, magnesium I've talked about extensively through so many different podcasts in this series, because it's the first mineral that you burn up when you stress out. So imagine you have had a stress going on for a while, and it's interesting nowadays, it's not the big stresses that get us, it's the little ones that just accumulate day in, day out. And when that's happening, you're taxing things like your magnesium levels. And so they build up, and then one day they just go, I'm done. And that last bit of that extra bright light, the extra heat, or the extra bit of noise, I don't know if you can hear it. I have got a crow having a big conversation outside. I don't know if it's coming through in this recording or not, but that's those kind of things. It's just they're the little things that just grate on your brain day after day, and they tax you. So think about, if you ask someone who's experienced migraines in the past, have you tried as a prevention looking at your magnesium levels? I really encourage you to start there, because that, especially if you are one that's getting really reactive to the noise and the light, I really encourage you to try that. Now, when the one is actually there, obviously you've got to, whether you take medication or not, absolutely, that's all up to you. I'm not a headache sufferer. So if you need to do meds, do what you need to do. But think about also essential oils, a couple of simple ones, lavender and peppermint. They're pretty boring, but they're excellent at helping to relieve that kind of pain that can be there. Now, lavender's relaxing, settles cortisol, stress hormone levels, all those things. Cool compress, just watch it, you don't get it too close to the eyes. Cool compress, which is a few drops of the oil in water, in cool water, face cloth, put it over your eyes, lay down, cool, dark room. That would be the place to go. And the same with peppermint. Or even you can get things like, the Migra sticks, which are basically peppermint and lavender oil together in a little roll-on. They're excellent. Carry one of them in your bag. Hopefully you get to the place that you're not going to need to have the medication. Interesting, Louise Hay, if you've read the book, You Can Heal Your Life, she suggests sex or masturbation for relieving migraine pain, and researching the science behind it, because it's said to help with migraines or cluster headaches and that really severe kind of in your face kind of ones. It works. Sex or masturbation works for a third of patients. And the researchers say they think it's happening because the brain's natural painkillers during sex is numbing the actual pain of the migraines. So I just want to throw that in there as a solution if you have not tried it yet. Next kind of headache I want to talk about is a sinus headache. Now, I've done these way more in my younger years, but I was the snotty person, and I've talked about that in previous podcasts. So, I remember having so much pressure in my head, like I couldn't put my head forward because the thickness and the throb in my head was insane. So sinus headaches, you usually feel it in exactly that, in your sinuses, whether it's in your cheeks or up on your frontal sinuses, up in the forehead, eyes, ears, everything just kind of is thick. And you can have the itchy, the clear, runny nose, maybe fever, maybe swelling in the face. And what happens is, what I found with my body, if I had hay fever or sinus and let it go too long, literally the snot that's stuck in your head gets all infected. And just taking analgesics or just taking, most of the medications they prescribe for headaches is not going to fix the pain. We have to get the snot out of your head. We just do, because it's the snot, the filled sinus cavities that are creating that pressure that's giving you the headache. And so this is where the bowl of warm water, because the warm steam helps to soften and liquefy the mucus so that you can blow it out of your head. Now my Breathe blend I've used for my whole career. It's a recipe I designed so many years ago. And it's a combination of eucalyptus, peppermint, lavender, tea tree, ginger, which goes in everything, lemon kills the bug that grows in mucus. So if you've got, the creamy yellows or greens or brown colors in your mucus, you need lemon essential oil. Juniper, cedarwood, they're in a combination that I created called Breathe. And it is excellent to get snot out of your head. It just really is. So you can just do it with a couple of drops on a tissue and breathe it dry. However, the warm steam is excellent for helping to also loosen that snot, because that's what's causing the action. Again, take the step behind. That's what's causing the sinus headache, the pressure in your head. So the sooner you get the snot out, the sooner you move that headache. Just taking analgesics, pain relievers, if you want to take them as well, but you've got to work on getting the snot out of your head. The next one is tension headaches. Now, tension headaches, they're the dull, thick throb that sits on the side of the heads generally, and it creates a pressure across your forehead, and like you can be tender in the face or neck, shoulders, everything's like, and just aching. You can feel pressure behind your eyes, oversensitive to light and sound, and they can start and come really quite quick, and they can last from minutes to hours. This is another one where and the clue is that you can be sensitive to light and sound. Magnesium is the first place to go. Okay, magnesium as a preventative. If you have a history of getting tension headaches, magnesium orally, so a supplement like a tablet or a powder is great. Magnesium baths, get some Epsom salts, sit yourself in a nice warm bath all the way up to your neck, and just let that tension ease out of your body. Make sure you're getting enough sleep. Now, lavender essential oil, it's a boring one, but it works. Remember, I said it's excellent for helping to work on cortisol, which is our stress hormone. We've got to get our body to adapt to the stress to be able to sleep properly. We still need to be able to move our body and stretch. We need to watch that, posture and everything's not playing the game. But what I know is that magnesium sits behind so much of what tension headaches are. So I'll put a link in the show notes to my episode that has the magnesium-rich foods all listed, so you can go and check that out. From a place of prevention, think about starting to bring them into your everyday life so that you don't wait to get tension headaches. Magnesium's king, both internally with magnesium-rich foods and maybe a magnesium supplement if it's been there that long. Also, magnesium baths. I can't recommend them enough. I am a big bathing kind of girl, and I love Epsom salts, magnesium salts to the max. They just work. And then I also add a few drops of my favorite essential oils. So my chill out blend, which is a combination of orange, lime, and ylang ylang helps to relieve that frustration and anger in our body, that pent up kind of feeling, helps to chill with that. But also my Sanity Saver blend, which is the one that I designed for that workplace adrenal stress, just when things get you. And it contains vetiver, patchouli, ylang ylang, geranium, and Australian sandalwood. Excellent for those kind of tension headaches. Now, if someone's got cluster headaches, these are just nasty little critters. They're all nasty critters, but these are really particularly nasty critters because they can run the same kind of symptoms, like a combination of a migraine and a tension headache, but they can also then have a bit of the runny nose and the tearing up of eyes and things that can come with sinus headaches. They're a really interesting headache if you want to study them. but they'll last anywhere from 15 minutes to a few hours. And people can have like 5, 6, 7, 8 of them in a day. And a cluster period can last from weeks to months. And it's huge. And then they can just kind of disappear for a while, weeks or months. Preventative treatment for these is very much around managing stress, because that's playing a part. So go back and listen to my episodes 1, episode 10, and episode 41. And I'll put the links in the show notes. So it's an easy, just click it and go and listen to them, or listen to it wherever you do on your podcasts. But all the solutions for those are in those podcasts. So go back and check them out. So another one I wanted to talk about is sexual headaches. I honestly didn't know these existed until last year when I got one. Yes, I'm revealing I have had a sexual headache in the past. And they generally come at the moment of orgasm. Yes, they do. Yes, you know now that I have had orgasms in my life. Yes. So what happens is there's the two kinds. One is a dull type of headache that's usually due to the muscle that's literally wrapped around your skull contracting from the head and neck from that excitement. And it shows up like a tension headache, like it's just like squeezing your brain. It's that kind of headache. And then the other one is the explosive kind, which they call sex headaches, which is thought to be brought on by blood vessel regulation. Bottom line, blood pressure. So your blood vessels open, blood rushes to your brain, and it's a similar pain to a really intense migraine headache. But they show up right at that moment of orgasm. So if it's just the orgasm headache that's coming from tension, like literally just tension, that's one thing. But if it's a sex headache that's coming from an underlying condition like high blood pressure, please see your doctor, especially if as it settles or it takes a long time to settle, whether you get, funny kind of vision or vomiting or a stiff neck or the pain lasts too long, go and see your doctor, go and get checked out. I'd never had one of these before. And I'm like, what is this? At that moment, it was like, no, not cool. And then I've really studied heaps about these, and they are way more common than I ever knew. It's just people don't talk about them. So I really want to talk about it. One, because so often it's just the person, it's literally just like hanging on at that moment instead of just relaxing. Yes, you all know about my sex life now. It's like, this is so good. But then that tension is just too much for your brain. Yes, I can't even explain it apart from it was that kind of feeling. I'm embarrassed talking about this, but I think it's important to talk about it because doing the research, these are bloody common, but women just don't talk about it, and women get them more than guys. What I've researched and found is that guys get more of the high blood pressure ones. Chicks will get more of the tension kind of ones. So coming from a place of prevention, after it happened to me, it honestly freaked me out for a bit because I thought, holy shit, am I having a stroke? What's going wrong? I'd never experienced it because I'm not a headache kind of chick, apart from, the occasional sinus headache in my youth. And so as a preventative, then I really watched my magnesium. I've had a big year, like everyone had during 2020. And I thought, okay, I need to just up my magnesium levels. And I took more of my adaptogen herbs and really just managed that. Blood pressure and everything was all good, got the clear from the doc, all my results, everything was great. So it wasn't that, it was literally just at that moment. Oh, and the other thing was I was forgetting to breathe. It's just like, it was so good. And I forgot to breathe. So that lack of oxygen that way is part of it, caused that. It's like a muscle cramp in your head. So I did want to talk about that because I'm real. I share with you everything that happens in my life because I figure it's happening to me. It's happening to everyone else, not everyone else. But I'm sure some of you out there have had these kind of headaches and weren't sure. So I wanted to just make you aware of them and then come from a place of prevention. Magnesium is key for headaches, guys. A couple of the other kind of headaches that are the classics, caffeine headache. If you've been having more than 2 cups of coffee or tea a day and then you go off it, you're getting your 2 or 3, 4 cups a day, you're going to get a caffeine headache. And that's literally, it's almost like a scary dehydration headache. So you need to manage, if you're wanting to get off caffeine, manage your, that headache when it's there, however you manage headaches, the way I've talked about in this, along the lines of your tension headaches, and also really keep your hydration up. And those kind of headaches usually only last 1 to 2 days. And if you go back onto caffeine, that obviously moves it, but ideally, if you're wanting to get off caffeine, just know that you may experience a caffeine headache if you've had some in the past, had too much caffeine in the past. Menstrual headaches can happen, absolutely, from those hormones that are just like raging sometimes during your menstrual cycle. And this is where naturopaths always take the step back, and we want to work with adaptogen herbs. So I've talked a lot about adaptogens across so many podcasts, and I'll put a couple of links in the show notes. So adaptogens are about balancing out your hormones in your adrenal glands, because your adrenal glands tells your thyroid what to do, and your adrenal glands tells your reproductive system what to do. So manage the headache, but long-term from prevention, get yourself on some adaptogens. If it's a hangover headache, don't bloody drink, or just at least manage your drinking and make sure you have enough water. Have a water, have an alcohol, have a water, have an alcohol, balance it out. And head injury headaches are a whole nother game. Don't be silly. I actually got gonked on the head twice this morning when I was surfing by my surfboard. Just got dumped a beauty off a couple of waves and wore my surfboard to the head. I have a couple of eggs on my head, but I'm okay. So don't be silly with head injury kind of headaches. You know, concussion and stuff is too real. Obviously, go and get checked. So a couple of healthy life hacks for you today. Guys, in the perfect world, number one is that we live from a place of prevention. If you know that you're prone to things like tension headaches or migraines or sexual headaches, up your magnesium levels. You can't beat magnesium-rich foods in life. Head over to the show notes to get the links to the episodes where I list out. You can just go and read the show notes in the other episodes. They're all on my website, and I list out the magnesium-rich foods. Go and check them out. Think about prevention. Number two, same with hangover headaches. Prevent the hangover. Drink enough water to balance out the alcohol. You don't have to go without grog, but at least balance it out a bit. And healthy life hack number three is just head over to the show notes, www.healthylifehacks.com.au, because everything I've spoken about today for each of those headache kinds is listed there, just to make it easy for you. So remember to stay tuned for the next episode, guys. In fact, hit the subscribe button wherever you listen to podcasts. So, because I'm going to be talking about why we get so short-tempered and how to fix that.